You can't usually see the flames, so that's one of the kind of things you got to watch out for with a stove like this. It's really great for solo use. The downsides with an alcohol stove is your boil time goes up. For example, your canister stoves anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. You're waiting about 13 to 17 minutes depending on the stove. You have to use a windscreen with them because they're very susceptible to wind. It's just a flame. It basically pressurizes the fuel inside, heats it up, and it comes out these little holes all the way around. I usually put a piece of aluminum foil on the ground so it don't scorch the earth, because you have to prime them, which means you just put a little fuel around and light it up. But they're really convenient because they're super light. You can take them anywhere, and you can find fuel all the time for these, even more so than the canisters. You'll see a lot of long distance hikers, a lot of through hikers of like the Appalachian Trail, for example. They'll be using an empty soda can cut in half as an alcohol stove. So moving on, your liquid fuel kind of stoves, your kind of traditional backpacking stove. This is the Whisper Light International from MSR. This has a pump that attaches to a reservoir of liquid fuel, and you have to pump the fuel. You have to prime it. So it takes a little learning curve to use this. But the nice thing about this, it's very large, and now we begin to be able to regulate our flame. So if you wanted to simmer something, you need to boil something for a long time. Maybe you're going out for overnight, but you're doing a romantic overnight, or you just love food and you want to cook something really awesome. That's where this is going to come in. You can take recipes from home then and kind of start using it. They're also great for larger groups, 4+ member groups. You'll be able to boil a lot more water, a lot more efficiently. The other plus side of this, and I forgot to mention the downside to the canister and alcohol stoves, is they are susceptible to temperature. Once it gets below freezing, alcohol is not going to ignite as well and heat up. Same with canisters, they kind of start to depressurize. It's cold. With this, you don't have that because you're manually pressurizing it. So, but it is heavy. It's heavy because you also have to carry a metal bottle for fuel. So I usually reserve my white gas stove to large groups, luxurious weekends, mostly my car camping these days because I don't get out for luxurious backcountry weekends. Someday. And one that I forgot to mention as well, kind of falls into the alcohol category almost, is the solid Esbit fuel stove. This has fuel tablets, which are solid, like so. And you just put them in the little indentation in the bottom, and you light it. Now you will need to use a windscreen. This one kind of has it built in. They're pretty affordable. This one comes with a stove and fuel. It's $13. Light pretty much all the time. You're still gonna have a long boil time, just like the alcohol stove. One thing that I get kind of turned off with these is they kind of smell like fish oil after you burn them, and everything that's cooked with them kind of smells fishy. So I keep them in a separate bag when I do use one of these, and yeah, but a lot of people really do like these. So your stove style is going to depend on what you're doing. Basically, except for the white gas stove, if I'm only boiling water for coffee or food, then that's okay. If I'm doing anything else, simmering, even frying to an extent, can be difficult because you have that small burner element and just a one constant flame. So keep that in mind. If you already have a stove, great. But if you're thinking about that, if that was something you were thinking about coming into this, now you have an idea of what you should be kind of thinking about. Now let's go to your camp kitchen a little bit. Obviously, you're going to have one of your stoves. You're going to have a pot. You can also use a mug as a pot. It's double purpose if you're just boiling water. That's what I usually do when I go up by myself. If you want to bring a frying pan, you can. I like to make pancakes a lot. I also make frying pan pizzas, which are really delicious. So it's kind of versatile. Comes out once in a while. It's good to have in your cook kit. Something to cook with. I don't really bring a spatula unless I'm going out to cook pancakes. That's usually a pretty specific, like, anniversary kind of style trip for me anyways. I really like this Essential Long Spoon from GSI. It has some silicone, heat-resistant silicone on it. It's really nice for like scraping mashed potatoes if you're cooking those. Most of the time, I like to carry either one of these two. This is a titanium long spoon. It's 13 bucks, it's kind of pricey. I lost mine. I now use this long-handled spoon, which is $1.95, and I break them and I lose them, and I don't feel a lot of shame for losing a $13 spoon. And if you can't get used to just eating with a spoon, you can of course go with your classic fork, knife, spoon combo. But I like the spoon. It's been versatile, and I've never been wanting for a butter knife or a fork. Sport. Or a sport. You could go sport. That's true. You could go sport. Call me a minimalist, I guess. Like I said, mug, you're always going to need some sort of ignition source, lighter. A lot of times I'll also carry like a fire starter or a ferrocerium rod. That will also light your stoves. And then I don't have to worry about losing the lighter. Kind of goes, I wear mine around my neck so I don't lose it. A small towel. I actually take this specific towel, this medium towel, and it has a loop on one end, so I cut it in half, and the one with the loop goes in my backpack to wash my face off, and it dries. The other one goes in my cook kit, so I can clean out my pot if I do cook in it. It's kind of a felty material, so it kind of acts as kind of like a scrubby kind of towel. Give you guys a sense of what that feels like. That's my favorite towel. I've used the same one for 14 years. It's pretty gross now, but probably should retire it, but it's Frank. Next thing goes with the towel, some biodegradable soap. I really like these small Dr. Bronner's. Come in a lot of scent profiles. I picked up rose. I wouldn't use this to brush my teeth with, but if you had like eucalyptus or peppermint, you could actually use that to brush your teeth. Biodegradable, made out of hemp, pretty natural. They say they have 18 uses. I've only used it to brush my teeth and clean pots, so 2 for me, but they do have 18 uses. And a bear bag, just a general stuff sack to put all my food in, and 50 feet of rope. The bear bag, and it's mostly rodent control, so the rats and the mice and the squirrels don't eat my food. That always makes me sour. And a pot scrubber if you want one, if you don't like cleaning your pot with a towel. You need to get that little bits, or if you're one of those that puts your pot at night, you're just too tired to put it up in the bear bag yourself, clean it before breakfast. Then you got mashed potato crumbles in there, and you gotta get them off. You can do that as well. But that's pretty much it for me, and I don't carry all of it all the time. Like most of this, except for the frying pan. It's a pretty small, compact kit, because most of my cooking personally, for most of my trips, unless it's something a little more, like I said, luxurious, is going to be boil and rehydrate.
So you have to put those things in a bear bag before you use them.
These?
Yeah.
I will put them in a bear bag at night, yeah. So they have a remarkable sense of smell, and they can smell them. Plus, it's just an air of caution always. I wore a shirt to bed that I fried fish in, for example, and I had a bear sniffing my butt in my hand. I tell this story all the time. I was asleep. I was not harmed, but that's also something to consider. If you did cook something smelly in your shirt, put it in the bear bag as well. Always on the air of caution. If it's something you're I'm not sure, just go ahead and put it in the bag. My bag's about 13 liters to 15 liters. It's a little oversized, but I can carry 5 days worth of food, a t-shirt, my fuel. I could even put my fuel up there because it all just goes in one bag. I'm just kind of lazy, and then I hoist it up to the refrigerator. Some tips for easy eating in the woods. I like to, if I'm cooking my rice, my quinoa, or my couscous, I like to put them in a freezer bag, like a 1 gallon or a half-gallon freezer bag, and then I actually like to cook my food in that. So you're basically boiling your water just like a mountain house meal. And if you're not used to these, you basically just boil water, pour it in, seal it, and let it sit for the prescribed amount of time. I do the same exact thing with a freezer bag. And after my pot's empty and cooled down, I will put the bag inside here. Sometimes I'll take if it's something that takes a little bit longer time to cook, or if it's a little cold out, I'll actually wrap my jacket around my pot, and then all my stuff's insulated. I just made a pot koozie. And then when it's all ready to eat, I take the opening of the bag, flip it around the rim of the pot, hold it with a handle, and now I have a bowl. I pull it out, I clean it. My first meal of the night, or the whole trip, that is now my trash bag. And usually 1 gallon will get me 5 days worth of trash. Pretty awesome there. Like I said, I eat out of them. I try to keep trash in one piece. It just helps, number one, to minimize pollution, and it just helps you when you're cleaning up camp. You don't have to look for all these little pieces of trash. So, example, if I'm using a mountain house, I will rip it open, but I'll leave it hanging off this side. Or if I'm doing, some sort of energy tabs, I'll rip it, but I'll leave that tag hanging there. I'm not creating 2 pieces of trash, I just have one. There's a thing I learned in Scouts, and it's always kind of just been something I always try to do. Always try something before you get out there. I've done this before. I've taken something out. It was an off-brand of pad thai. I thought it was going to be fantastic. It was not. Always try the food. I take home, when we get new flavors, I always buy them. I buy 2, and my wife and I eat them for dinner that night. It's kind of fun. I pull out the stove, go on our balcony, cook some food. Why don't you put your tent up too, camp chair, make it a kind of an event. Anything to inspire the outdoors. But that way, when you get out there, you're like, okay, I know I don't want that again. That's a bad choice. Use recipes that don't require a lot of prep. Like I said, a lot of my things are, for the backcountry specifically, are going to be boil and rehydrate. So, if it's a spaghetti sauce and spaghetti and sauce, I might buy something like the freeze-dried one, or I might dehydrate my own. It's pretty simple if you have a dehydrator. You just literally make it, spread it on the dehydrator, set it,